In the headlines, pushback among POS operators over new CBN directive on registration. Gunmen kill FIRS official in Abuja. Medical team others depart for Saudi Arabia Sunday for Hajj 2024. And lastly, on the foreign scene, Israel steps up strikes in Gaza after issuing new Rafah evacuation order. Hello and welcome to the news updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. Now the news in detail. Point-of-sale POS operators in Kano are protesting against the recent directive by the Corporate Affairs Commission that they should register their businesses within the month. The directive, according to the CAC, aligns with regulations set by the Central Bank of Nigeria. However, these operators are raising concerns that such registration could potentially inflate transactions costs for customers. The report.
Point-of-sale operators in Kano State protest over a recent directive from the Corporate Affairs Commission. The CAC has mandated POS agents to register their businesses within a 2-month deadline in line with the CBN regulations. However, operators are expressing concerns that this registration could drive up transaction costs for customers. A serious challenge that has come to us operators is this issue of mandatory registration. What I would want the CAC to understand is that most of us will not be able to afford that registration unless it is reduced. Everyone knows the problems we are facing. Even with the 100 naira, 150 naira charges at the moment, people still complain a lot. Now, this policy might make things more difficult if we have to increase charges. Meanwhile, CAC registration agents argue that the call for registration is not only driven by potential commissions from an increased number of registrations, but also by the necessity to comply with the directive. The new registration is useful because mostly we have seen cases that a person could be using a name to operate his business that is registered by someone else. I believe the POS operators will realize the benefits of having that owned business name very soon. So, you know, when new things come, there's usually apprehension from people, especially when it involves money. But I believe that in the long run, the operators will see that this new directive is done in the best interest of everyone. Be that as it may, due to challenging economic climate and the soaring inflation of food prices, these operators are urging the government to reconsider its directives. We call on the government to try to see if there is a way that they can look at this policy to reduce the amount of money for the registration, because with the current economic situation, we are not making that much from the POS business. And if you now make us stop with the increasing inflation and everything, what do you now want us to do? Many of us will not be able to meet up and start eating into our capital, because even the capital that we have in this business is not much. So we appeal to the government to please look into it again and try to reduce the amount for the registration. As tensions rise between regulatory requirements and industry concerns, the fate of these POS operators hangs in the balance.
And now to Benue State, where residents of Makoti in the state's capital have warned of a rise in forced evictions of tenants following the rising cost of house rents in the capital. According to them, the surge in rents, which has become an issue of concern if not controlled, may worsen the already strained economy that is making life difficult for residents. Jimmy Azandi reports.
The residents blame the activities of the middlemen, popularly called house agents, for the current situation in Makodi and environs.
One of the reasons why house rent cost in Makodi is due to all these Yahoo boys. If, for instance, a landlord say his house is 450,000 and they charge them, they will just pay And a common man that doesn't have that 450,000 naira will not be afford the money to pay. So that was the reason why this landlord see that these boys they have money to pay.
In addition, some say the growing number of internet fraudsters, also known as Yahoo boys, is a factor for the rising cost.
I think they are more interested in their own percentage. So the cost is just something else now. I think the best thing for one to do nowadays is just to get a place, no matter how small and no matter how it is, and pack in. If it is yours, it is yours. If not, it's so disheartening.
They are saying only the government can fix the situation through properly executed housing policies for the low-income earners.
Both the state and the federal government should come in to build more houses, to build more, house for the average income earners, so that they can also afford. They can build estate. Government can go into estate development, like we had in the past, where the government of Akume built owner-occupier and gave to civil servants. When Susam came, he also did the same thing in North Bank area. So this government should step in. This government should come in and secure a place where they can build, a house for an average income owner.
Residential houses are rented in hundreds of thousands and even millions in Makurdi at the moment. Economists are saying this price is not commensurate with the status of Benue, a civil service-dominated state. Jimmy Azandi, Trust TV News, Makurdi.
Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, have decried the recent disruption in electricity supply to the state. The situation, which has lingered for a while now, has negatively affected the daily lives of residents and impacted businesses across the state. The report.
According to residents, life has almost become a standstill as every activity is dependent on electricity. Business operators are also lamenting that for over a week now, they have been using diesel to power their operations, noting that with the increase in petroleum products, they will not be able to sustain their operations.
It's a known scenario. Everybody's suffering it. There is heat, there's no light, and even to buy fuel is another problem for us. We are begging, pleading with the government to look into this situation and correct it. If not, in fact, it's affecting even health.
The vandalism that has happened now that plunged this state and other states in total blackout. This is not the first time. It has been happening, only that this one is, the magnitude of this one is higher than the ones that have been happening. And for almost a month, over 3 weeks now, Taraba State, Jalingo in particular, is in total blackout. This has affected a lot of small-scale businesses, people who cannot run their businesses on generator.
To be frank, our businesses are suffering because we cannot produce enough like before. We spend a lot on diesel, so we need to increase prices on our products. But some of our customers cannot afford the new price. Government should come to our aid.
We cannot even refrigerate our drinks because there is no power supply, and because most people don't want to drink water or any other drink that is not chilled. We are losing patronage because we cannot afford to buy fuel due to the increase in the price. We are calling on the government to intervene. Addressing the press, the Taraba State Commissioner for Energy and Economic Development, Naomi Tanko, stated that the recent distribution in electricity supply was caused by vandalization of 4 transmission tower along Jos Gombe 300 kV lines. According to her, the federal government and the state government are working with the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, and the Yola Electricity Distribution Company to address the situation.
I understand the frustration and inconvenience that this disruption has caused to all our dear residents. We, as the ministry, waited in addressing the public until significant progress has commenced by the federal government of Nigeria, of which we have been informed that TCN has handed over the site to the contractor and restoration work has commenced.
The commissioner urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities around the transmission tower or any electrical facilities to law enforcement agents.
We have felt and observed keenly the increase in the insecurity that has plagued us all, especially during these days of total blackout for some and partial electricity supply restored to some.
Meanwhile, residents are calling on relevant authorities to do more to restore electricity supply in the state in order to reduce burden on the citizens.
Tragedy struck in Bassa local government area of Plateau State as 2 herders and over 100 cows fell victim to what appears to be a reprisal attack. Ezekiel Bini, a community leader in Kwal district, where the incident unfolded, recounted that the violence stemmed from the killing of a man on his farm by suspected herders, sparking tensions that erupted into a retaliatory rampage during the victim's burial. Nura Abdullahi and Garba Abdullahi, chairman of Miyati Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria and Gun Allah Fulani Development Association, respectively, expressed dismay over the incident, confirming the loss of lives of 100 cattle. Garba Abdullahi emphasized the urgent need for security agencies to intervene, denouncing the ongoing attacks against the Fulani community as an attempt to annihilate them. They urged the authorities to address the escalating of violence. Despite attempts to reach Operation Safe Haven for comment, no response was received as of the reports filing. Graphic images of the slain cattle and young man killed by suspected herders has circulated on social media, highlighting the grim reality of the situation. Unknown assailants have shot dead an employee of the Federal Inland Revenue Service in Maitama, Abuja on Friday night. Abichi was reportedly out to grab a meal, fell victim to gunmen's attack shortly before 9 p.m. Rushed to Maitama General Hospital, he was declared deceased upon arrival. The Federal Capital Territory Police Public Relations Officer Josephine Ade confirmed that investigations are underway. Bichi was laid to rest on Saturday afternoon following funeral prayers at the Abuja National Mosque. In response, Dare Adekombi, Special Advisor on Media to the FIRS Executive Chairman, expressed condolences on behalf of the organization and pledged support to the bereaved family. He also assured that FIRS will collaborate with authorities to uncover the circumstances surrounding the incident. And now to Imo State, where operatives of the Owerri Urban Area Command of the Nigerian Police in Imo has arrested burglars for robbing a shop in the state. This is even as the menace of burgling in the state has assumed a greater dimension among youths who have not taken to crime, rather, due to the prevailing hardship in the land. Police say shops and warehouses are now their targets, as they often break into to steal valuables. Trust TV Ajibade Praise tells us more.
The police public relations officer in Imo State, ASP Henry Okoye, who confirmed the incident in a telephone interview with Trust TV, identified the arrested suspects as Usman Suleiman of Kano State and Mohammed Ibrahim of Zaria, Kaduna State. Okoye said efforts are in top gear to arrest other fleeing suspects and make them face the full wrath of the law.
Okay, the apprehension was following a swift response to a distress call that we received from a concerned citizen that hoodlums were breaking into someone's shop at Amakoya. The area commander immediately deployed his men down to the scene, and on getting to the scene, the hoodlums took to their heels on sighting the police operatives. However, gallant operatives gave them a hot chase, and we are able to arrest 2.
He listed some of the items recovered from the suspects to include 1 solar panel, 1 tree-damaged padlocks, 1 big iron cutter, industrial standing fan, and 2 sonic standing fans, Elipack generator set, 32 inches plasma television, 143 inches Hisense plasma television, among several other valuables, all worth over 3 million naira. Okoye called on business owners and residents alike to be vigilant and report any suspicious movement around their business premises.
For them to stay away from crime and for them to engage in one thing or the other. Because when you engage in one thing or the other, you stay away from crime. But when you have the good friends, you know what to do. But when you have the bad ones, they will not, maybe they will introduce you to something that is not good, into corruption or the other.
Stealing people's phones, that's not the easiest and the better way to make money. There definitely obviously better things people can do to make money. You can just walk into somebody's shop. There are good people everywhere. They can just go and say, okay, please, I want to learn how to do something. The person will just want to help you because the person feel like you want to do this thing, you want to do better and stuff. There's God. God is watching. So if you're doing evil, thinking you're making money, God is watching. What goes around comes around.
You should partner with us. If there's any information, you should not relent. And we are assuring them that we will respond, just like we responded swiftly to them.
The CP, Danjuma Aboki, appreciated the caller for the timely information given to the police and urged Imolites to take advantage of the command's emergency lines and report any suspicious persons or clandestine activities observed within their vicinity, as security is everybody's business. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
And away from Owerri, a contingent of 43, comprising 35 officials from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria and 8 medical personnel, will depart Abuja for Saudi Arabia to kickstart preparations for the 2024 Hajj pilgrimage. Their primary task is to make final arrangement to receive the initial batch of Nigerian pilgrims from the Kebbi State, scheduled to arrive in the kingdom on Wednesday, May 15. Jalal Ahmed Arabi, the chairman and chief executive officer of NACAN, commended the team for the selection and emphasized the importance of the roles. He urged them to uphold their duties diligently, as their performance could significantly impact the success of the pilgrimage. Arabi emphasized the pivotal role of the advance team as the first point of contact for pilgrims, highlighting that their conduct will shape the pilgrims' perception and overall experience. He urged them to strive for excellence, reminding them of the rewards, both earthly and divine, for treating the pilgrims with utmost care and respect. This is a news update on Trust Television, coming up shortly after the break. We'll take a look at, amidst economic challenges, Imo residents call for full reinstatement of FIRS subsidy. Details of this report and more shortly. Join us again. You're still watching the news update on Trust Television. Before we proceed, let's take a look at our headlines again. We told you earlier the pushback among POS operators over new CBN directive on registration, and gunmen kill FIRS official in Abuja. Moving on, Vice President Kashim Shettima has affirmed that the ongoing tax reforms under the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration aim to enhance the system for the collective welfare of Nigerians. Addressing attendees at the conclusion of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee retreat in Abuja, Kashim Shettima emphasized the government's commitment to establishing an administrative framework that ensures the broad benefits of a robust tax system for all citizens. Represented by Dr. Aliyu Modibo Umar, Special Advisor to the President on General Duties, Shettima reassured that the administration remains dedicated to fostering an investment-friendly environment while revitalizing revenue generation in Nigeria. Highlighting the importance of the committee's work, Shettima expressed confidence in the ability to effectively implement the reforms, transitioning from the phase of proposal to full-scale implementation. And now, residents of Imo State, Southeast Nigeria, expressing total displeasure over the current fuel pump price in the state. They said fuel that sold for 600 naira per litre few days is now sold at 800 naira. Trust TV's Ajibade Praise tells us more in this report.
This unfortunate development is coming at a time when the people were beginning to enjoy the gradual reductions in prices of commodities at various markets in the state. Sadly, fuel scarcity, which has affected the price at various filling stations in Owerri metropolis, is impacting on cost of foodstuff in the market.
It's terrible. How can I be buying fuel at 800 per litre? Doesn't really go well. So if there's anything the government can do to actually work on fuel price, that would be very, very nice. Because no, there's nobody in this country that's happy that they are buying fuel for 800. Coupled with there's no light. And if they are giving us light and you are buying fuel for even 1,000, it should be okay. But there's no light. That means the common man has to be on gen every now and then. So it's really, really bad.
It doesn't make any sense. The government is not treating us fair. Do you understand? They do these things sometimes, forget we are citizens. We are the reason why they were voted. We are the reason why they are in the office. Do you understand? They are not treating the masses right. When you go to fuel stations, like increments of things everywhere here and there, when you go to stations, some people are saying based on how they feel like to sell. Like I returned back from Abuja yesterday. You understand? I bought fuel at the rate of 617 naira. Getting here, where they are selling for 800, 850. You go to some stations, they are selling for even 900. So at least they should help us. Even if they can make it a round figure, it's sold like that everywhere.
Because the problem is we they buy fuel. At least the end of the day, go buy fuel 8,000 naira. Nothing go follow me go out at 5,000-6,000 naira, which is very bad. We don't get anything fuel there too much.
A bag of rice that was sold at 60,000 naira a few weeks ago has now jumped to 70,000 naira and above.
It's just a mix, and we are not happy about it. So I just wish that the government will do something about it. It's starting for the commoners, so they can be able to get fuel. I don't really think that the removal of subsidy is helping us. If the government can just allow things to flow the way it was before.
Necessity of life, they cannot provide it. No good road, no light, no fuel. And without fuel, no one can survive in this Nigeria. Look at price of fuel, 800 naira a litre. You can imagine. So it is an unfortunate situation.
Some residents are calling on the state and federal government to reinstate subsidy because its removal has done more harm than good. Ajibade Praise, Trust TV News, Owerri.
And away from Nigeria, Israel intensified its airstrike on Gaza on Sunday following an expansion of evacuation orders for Rafah, heightening tensions in the region. The United Nations warned of a potential for catastrophic consequences if a full-scale invasion of the densely populated southern city were to occur. US President Joe Biden said that there are ways to actually observe intense clashes. And now to sports. In the sports, we talk about football clinic organized to develop young talents in the under 13, under 12 and under 8 categories in Nigeria that has been held in Abuja. Trust TV's correspondent Adeni Ajishafe tells us more.
The Define Nuggets Holiday Football Clinic brought together young footballers aged 8 to 13 to learn the basics of football. The kids were happy to learn the trade courses of different trainings all geared towards preparing them for the future. Team Scaling and Refine Nuggets under 13 sides logs on after training, while the second match of the day had under 10 and under 8 taking on each other. Becoming a professional footballer is a dream of some of the players as they combine education and football.
I always have an intention of playing as a footballer, but I also have to juggle school also. It's something I have to be conscious of because football is what I love and I also like school, so it's very hard to juggle. This clinic is a very good and developing clinic. I think people should come to it. It's a very nice clinic.
I think that when parents allow their children to come, that it will give them a lot of confidence to grow, and maybe one day they might be a professional footballer. Who knows who is the next Messi or Ronaldo in this world?
I love playing football because I'm a player, and I like to dribble people, and sometimes I fall down. Coach, he likes carry me up. I like Mbappe.
Parents of some of the participating players say such a football clinic will go a long way to put the young footballers to achieve their dream of becoming football stars.
I saw great improvements from my son. Besides the physical improvements, which is health and well-being, I have seen a level of discipline, in him as well. And not to talk about his skills, which has improved, and love and passion for the game.
Football is good, and before, when we are playing, the parents, they don't know that football is money. But now, as you can see, the football is all about money. Even the people that have money, the big rich parents and everything, want their son, the daughter.
The organizer of the football clinic said the aim is to discover and develop football talent at a tender age.
The thing is, we are trying to see how we can bring grassroots football back to its normal standard. A lot of kids lack basics. Even some of the older players, if you look at some of them when they play, it's even difficult for some senior players to trap the ball. So what I'm trying to do is trying to see how I can impart a whole lot of, stuff into these kids, teaching them the right thing to do, teaching them the basic of football, and letting them to also know that it's not just all about football, but education first. Education should always come first. Then once you're done with your studies, you can also continue with your career as a footballer.
The football clinic will be a periodic event to give room for more football talent development in Nigeria. That's Sport News. I'm Adeniyi Ajijafe.
And that brings us to the end of the news at this hour. For more, go to our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining.